He was tied to the execution platform, with a sea of creatures under his feet. Demons who were eager to have babies with him. From heaven to hell, from the only mage in the city who could fight against demons, to a prisoner, because he offended the powerful nobleman. Pierce's mother was burned at the stake for being unclean as a child. She and her loving grandfather could only watch the crowd cheer helplessly, and he was born with white hair. He was abused by his peers with violence and coldness. He asked his grandpa if he did something wrong. Grandpa burst into tears after hearing it. Silly child, you did a great job, but not good enough. You have to be so good that they have nothing to say. You were speechless. As a victim, he had to consider the feelings of the perpetrators. This remote town is so arbitrary and unreasonable. But he didn't give up. Knowledge changes fate. He began to enrich his knowledge through various books, especially the magic field that ordinary people cannot reach. He seems to be naturally endowed with magical nature. He has no threshold or obstacle in learning. He made rapid progress. With the magic, a weapon of dimensional reduction strike, the girl naturally has the ability to protect herself. But the powerful will always press you before you grow up. Pressurize first. The crowd had a bad opinion of the girl's magic, saying she was indeed a bitch like her mother. But this time, the girl has the ability to protect herself and her grandpa. A century-old tomb suddenly collapsed. The crowd's noise suddenly stopped. Everyone looked at the girl in horror as she walked towards them. This time, no one dared to show dissatisfaction. Who would joke about their own life? But her abilities and appearance became a curse again. A famous nobleman took a fancy to her ability. As long as the girl is willing to serve him, he would give her and her grandfather. He will bring them endless wealth. Of course, miracles and magic come at a price, provided that the girl would be his concubine. After saying that, the fat nobleman touched the girl's waist. The girl, who was ashamed and angry, she immediately burned his hand and then quickly fled the place. The rest is predictable. The nobleman was furious. One day, the girl came home with a full harvest after hunting. The house was in a mess like a hurricane had passed, and her grandfather was lying in a pool of blood. Grandpa told the girl she didn't agree to the noble's request. The girl didn't ask what the request was. At the end of his life, he held the palm of his only relative with tears. He blamed himself for everything. But where was his mistake? He hated that he had done nothing wrong. Why did he end up like this? Grandpa, who had never competed for anything in life, told her not to hate humans. He is the crystallization of demons and humans, and should act as a bridge between the two races. At least the visionary grandpa thought so. But the narrow-minded nobles would never understand this vision. The poor are just cowardly people with low self-esteem. How dare these cowards have a vengeful mentality? But they still kept a hand. Since they can't get the girl, then just destroy them. Didn't your mother give birth to you by mating with demons? That will make you follow in your mother's footsteps. And it's much more exciting than your mother's. The girl let the monsters driven by desire tear their clothes apart. Her mind still echoed her grandfather's last words. Don't hate me, and protect them. But who will protect me? Suddenly, a breeze rose from the ground, and the sword shadow as bright as moonlight suddenly fell, with pieces of red falling with the white sword light. The girl's dull eyes were instantly lit up. The woman with the parrot put away her sword and stood aside. and the person who instructed him to save the girl walked over slowly. Sorry for being late. I am the new mayor of Yaxi City. The man untied the girl's ropes while telling the female swordsman to clean up the surrounding riffraff. Don't worry. I know a little about the nobles. You are the magician of Yaxi City, and also my magician. And those who touch me usually don't have a good end. But the girl was scared. The man who just arrived couldn't control the local bully. She wanted the male lead to pretend to tie her back, but was stopped by the female swordsman. The noble's dominance of the city? The girl doesn't have to worry. After all, as long as his master gives an order, there will only be one voice in Yaxi City. The one who decided to save the damsel was not the heroic female swordsman, but the new lord of Yaxi City lied. Let's call him Brother Lei or Sister Lai. After learning about the magician Phileda's experience, he and the female swordsman came to save her. Don't worry about the noble bullying. I will definitely get justice for you. In a blink of an eye, Li Jie has kicked a nobleman in the stomach. He looked at the fat man in fancy clothes and was furious. As the newly appointed mayor, when he entered the city for inspection, he knew that the city and the people lived a poor life, but they still found joy in it. But the nobles here colluded with each other, abused the people with their noble power, coercing and enticing, and robbing good women. Great. They violated every clause in the criminal law. If the mage Phileda hadn't said before, a disciple came and kowtowed, begging him, the new city lord, to save his master. He would have missed a good general for defending the city. After dealing with Pierce's guards, Li Jie also tasted the red wine that was stained with the blood and sweat of the people. Thinking back to when he first arrived, these nobles still pretended to be wearing patched clothes. Now they are wearing fine clothes and eating delicacies. They really have no shame. The nobles have long heard that the useless fourth son of Yunyang domain, but he's just a powerless playboy, was sent to this remote town adjacent to the demon territory. Shouldn't they let these deeply rooted nobles out well? With such decisive actions, decisively, how could he look like a waste? Brother Li picked up Pierce, handed over the only mage in the capital to the demons. It was his idea. The girl doesn't want to be your concubine. You want to destroy her. They even used the invasion of demons, threatening Li Jie to cooperate with the nobles in Yuchang. To be safe, it's obvious that they collude with the demons and oppress the people. Brother Li understands. Before eradicating external threats, he needs to clean up. These nobles are the first step for him to take office as the new lord. Now he has a showdown with the nobles. They have also made a lot of money over the years. As long as they leave half to buy their lives, he can show mercy and let these parasites out of the city. One of the nobles was shocked and angry. The new city lord has a lot of power. I've worked half my life to accumulate this wealth. You want half of it? Why don't you rob? You're right. Li Jie is going to rob. If it weren't for the magician, he respected his grandfather's will. He told Li Jie not to kill these people. Now these nobles not only have to leave all their property, but also their heads. Li Jie relies on his character in life and work. He promised his magician not to kill them. He honestly accepted the other's mansion and servants. He mercifully let these parasites out of the city and let them fend for themselves. He promised not to do it himself, but he also understood a truth that if you don't kill the root, the spring breeze will grow again. On the way to escape, Several nobles were indignant. Since the fourth son of the Lord of Yunyang was so ignorant, they decided to take their remaining property to the other son of the Lord, Master Lining. Young Master Lining has always looked down on the family. After the useless Li Jie joined Li Neng's side, he urged him to attack Yu Chen. At that time, he would make the useless fourth son lick his shoes. However, the smooth carriage suddenly stopped. The nobles in the carriage fell over each other. A female swordsman in silver armor stood in their way. There are always angels who can't see the ugly face of the bad. Then let other angels take his place. Her every look and smile can captivate all beings. Come. He is a man who was placed in a brothel to sing. It's not impossible to get him. 10,000 gold coins can help him redeem himself. But in this society where people spend a few copper coins a month, it's impossible to save up 10,000 gold coins. It's no less than becoming a billionaire by begging. It's an impossible fantasy. This is the price he paid for offending the city lord. He has great talent and strategy. Even the talented young man, Bai Feng, often asks him for advice on internal affairs. However, the city lord of Tiancheng doesn't have the discerning eye of Bai Feng. The short-sighted city lord, when he heard that his military advisor wanted to use to support the poor, he slapped Heiyu to the ground. Instead of helping the master make money, but you want to take money from your master to help the poor. Anyway, you have a face that women all envy. Then you can go to the brothel to sing. If you want to reform, go to the brothel. Go to the brothel and tell the audience. So Heiyu had to cheer up every day and worked hard to earn money to redeem himself. In his spare time, he also inquired about world events. And think about the policy. Although these domestic policies may never be used. The song ended. He nodded slightly. Countless copper coins fell on him. This scene, contrasted with his grand strategy, is particularly ironic. However, a bag of gold coins fell conspicuously at his feet. He looked up. A handsome young man smiled at him kindly. Play another song, the other said, and then he danced again and sang. Every lift of his hand and every glance all made the audience's hearts flutter. On the quiet lake, the handsome young man asked him if 10,000 gold coins. How much money he has saved. Heiyu smiled bitterly, saying that he had saved 100 gold coins, but there is no next 3 years in Tiancheng City. The handsome young man asked again. The discerning Baifeng city lord. Those who have discerning eyes wouldn't spend 10,000 gold coins to redeem you? However, Heiyu smiled bitterly. Baifeng, a powerful figure who rules a region, would not ruin his reputation for a little geisha. To ruin his reputation. But a handsome young man said that Baifeng wouldn't take you. I'll take you away. At this moment, Haiyu's eyes sparkled with a strange light. But when she thought how the previous city lord treated him, she rejected the request of the handsome young man. He no longer wanted to be in charge of internal affairs. But the handsome young man keenly observed his actions. You don't want to do domestic affairs, but you've been analyzing world events for years. You look so tough but have no mouth. His words seemed to hit the pain point of the contract. He covered his face in pain. Do you think he doesn't want to give up thinking? And just give up thinking and end his life? But he is also a man. He wears this clothes all day. He lives like a living dead, singing that kind of androgynous tone. Of course, he doesn't want to think about national affairs. But only by thinking about those things can he ease the pain brought by the cruel reality. Don't worry, you don't have to sing anymore. Zheng Chao whispered to him, Heiyu will be his from now on. He came to this Cloud Sea territory to find talents for internal affairs, and Yu is his favorite candidate. But as we all know, Lied is the mayor of the remote Yaxi city. 10,000 gold coins, enough for the people of Yaxi city for several years. Can he afford it? Of course, Lied has a way. Nowadays, Yunhai Domain is holding a grand Oren election. As long as you find a beautiful woman and win the title of Oren, you can make any request. Even if he asks Yunhai to cede 12 cities to him, then Lida will help Heiyu regain her freedom. As for the Oren election, he has already found a beauty. The beauty met a rogue earlier, after he saved her from the ruffian, and he was tricked into participating in the election. Li Dei used modern makeup techniques to dress her up beautifully to win the first place for that girl. Was a piece of cake. However, what Lai didn't expect was that this unknown little girl was the sister of the Baifang city lord, Bai Huang. The mayor and the city lord have opposing positions, although Lai was indeed kind to her. But it's human nature to favor family over reason. Yes, sure enough, the Oren election reached a critical moment, but she didn't even see Bai Huang. Lai realized something was wrong at this time. But it's not a big problem. What he said was like a nail in the coffin. He promised to help Heiyu restore her freedom. He will do it. At this point, what else can be reversed? The host read out the name of the next contestant. The name of the next contestant. Please welcome Lied, the fourth son of the Yungyang Lord. Traditional people have never seen such a charming Oren. The atmosphere reached an unprecedented height. And this man with means and courage also shocked Heiyu. The other party was willing to humiliate himself for his promise and would not discriminate against him as a geisha. He values Heiyu as a person rather than using him as a tool to be able to assist such a lord. He will do his best. He was strangled by his gentle and lovely younger brother, until he was almost suffocated before letting go. He couldn't see since he was a child, and couldn't walk, all thanks to his younger brother reading military books, and helped him sit in a wheelchair. That made him today without leaving the cottage, and now he rules over a third of the world. However, it is Sacha who was willing to share weal and woe with him, threw him out of the city lord's mansion today, and himself is indulging in feasting and revelry, drinking and feasting, ignoring the safety of the people and the future of the territory. He wept bitterly. The pouring rain mercilessly washed over his fragile body, while a man held an umbrella, stood under the umbrella for him. Is it surprising? The man's smile was not proud, but rather kind. He just felt sorry for this poor Miss Fang. A few months ago, the 13th daughter of the Lord Zhao Ken became famous. She held her younger brother's military power and captured several cities in a row. She went south and reached the gate of Lied, the lord of Yaxi city. She was very popular. The lord of Shaoshan also showed some favor to the ignored 13th daughter. He intends to give the future territory to his younger brother. With her assistance, his younger brother Fang Litei could surely make the Zhao Ken territory dominate. But Fang 13, who had a smooth journey, never imagined. A small Yaxi city hides dragons and crouching tigers. A mere border town. Not only has twice the thickness of other cities, there are also many brave female swordsmen. Female mages who are proficient in high-end magic, even the daughter of the Lord of Cloud Sea, Bai Huang, to protect Zikang. But he is not in a hurry. There's still a long way to go. Yaxi City was attacked by the well-equipped Tiangxin City, attacked from the east and north, while being invaded by demons from time to time. It's vulnerable. It will become the property of the 13th city. It's just a matter of time. And Yushi City's biggest reliance is the father of the city lord, Lord Yunyang. With the Lord Yunyang as his backer, he dare not send a large army to attack Yuchang. But before that, Lai was sent to Yaxi City. It was because of this, Lai, the city lord, was humiliated. Lord Yunyang, the document of severing the father-son relationship, is already on the way. He only needs to wait for the document to be announced. He can justifiably march into Yuchang City and take Yaxi City. Sure enough, the Lord of Yunyang, the document of the Lord of Yuchang, cutting off the father-son, arrived in Yuchang City in 5 days, announcing it to the world. The people of Yuchang were disheartened, spontaneously gathered together, and fled to nearby cities to avoid the war. Among them, Liu Ming. Part of them chose to join Fang Yuan, the son of Zhao Chun's lord. But most of them still joined the Tiangxin city that attacked Yuchang. All of this was calculated by Fang Shizhen. The people heard that the mayor Fang Litai was stubborn, and the people under his rule lived a miserable life. But when they arrived at Tianqing City, they found it wasn't the case. The sister of the city lord, Fang Shizhen, not only became close with Lu Ming, and even vowed to share weal and woe with the people. The Chengzhu asked sister's sincere expression, which made the people feel that they had found a good backer. Fang Shizhen's prestige was unparalleled, even overshadowing the mayor Fang Lita. But at this time, Shota only felt sorry for his sister, and didn't think there was anything wrong until a man intervened between them. Fang Shishi was weak and sickly since childhood. Only the maid who took care of him closely to clear the master's lesions often went out to collect various herbs to help Fang Shishi. But sooner or later, she would meet trouble. The powerless maid, if she hadn't met a kind couple, would have fallen into the wolf's mouth. She would have become an unnamed skeleton. When she learned that the man in the couple had been exiled to Tianqing City, the maid she introduced the man to her master Fang Shishi. After all, their mansion was in need of a hardworking and enthusiastic cook, and this handsome and already had a girlfriend was the best candidate. Although the city lord Zhao Ta had a problem with a man entering the mansion, but seeing that his sister and the maid needed this hard worker, he suppressed his dissatisfaction. He didn't say anything. Fang Shizhen thought about strategies to conquer every day. In his spare time, he sits in the pavilion to enjoy the winter scenery. The cook is more careful than the maids, and took meticulous care of him. Over time, Fang Shizhen's feelings for the cook grew stronger. Since the attack on Yu West City, unconsciously from early summer to winter, every carefully planned war were all seen through in the confrontation, which made Fang Shizhen aware of possible spies inside. He pretended to be drunk and wanted to start testing from the closest people. Although he couldn't see, he was aware of the admiration for his figure and appearance. He already had a crush on the cook. He freely exudes charm and even threatened. He was willing to serve him instead of his unseen wife, as long as he agreed. Fang Shizhen would never betray Tianqing City. Just as things was developing in the direction that everyone wanted to see, a figure quietly stood at the door of Fang Shishi's room. It was his lost younger brother, Fang Litai. He loves his sister the most. While other brothers were playing in the courtyard, while he held the Sun Tzu's art of war that he couldn't understand, he wanted to give his sick sister who was bedridden, paralyzed, and blind. He told his sister that he would unify. He would use the heavenly kingdom to become the king, while his sister replied that she would be the general, always on his left. And that's what happened. Now he is the only lord of Tiangxin City. And his sister is also his military advisor. With her amazing method of arranging troops, and captured 10 cities for him. Second, everything was ruined by the appearance of a man. Fang Lita stood at the door of her sister's room in a daze. She asked her sister if she could come in and talk to her. However, unexpectedly, her sister, who always dotes on her, refused her today. But Fang Li, who had a lot to say, she chose to squat at the door and humbly poured out her heart to her sister. Recently, there are more and more counselors around him, advised him to imprison his powerful sister. But he wouldn't do that. He thinks he loves his sister so much. And sister's mood should be the same as his. When Yushi City is also taken by her sister, they can read together as before. However, things didn't go as planned. The unexpected broken wine glass startled the 3 people inside and outside the room. After Fang Lita pushed open the door, she couldn't believe her eyes. She saw her sister's clothes were disheveled, riding on the Tiger Man. Fang Lita was shocked. She stood there in shock, with a shout. He ordered to take the rapist into the prison. She knew that her sister had some affection for him, but he always suspected that this guy had ulterior motives. Anyway, he whipped the corpse first and caused some skin injuries to vent her anger. But the cook had a bad temper. He mocked Fang Lita for not having eaten and hit so lightly. Fang Lita was so angry that she fumed. She whipped him dozens of times. Until he heard that Fang Shizen's sister and maid were kneeling outside. He angrily threw down the whip and left. However, after the soldiers escorted Fang Lita away, the cook, pretending to be dead, woke up. How could these wounds be enough? He had to do it himself to add some more. Outside the prison, Fang Shizan explained to her brother her attempt to test the cook. To test whether the cook was the traitor in Yuxi City. She just seduced him with her beauty. Fortunately, although Fang Lita was angry, she didn't hurt the cook too badly. So he felt that the cook from Yuxi City was a little strange. But for his sister, he wouldn't kill him. However, as soon as the door opened, her maid saw such a tragic scene, couldn't help screaming. She said it was just a little skin injury, and he would use his hands with restraint. But the cook, in front of her, was covered in deep bone-deep knife wounds. The whole person was dying. And was dying. Fang Litai asked which subordinate used torture without permission, but no one dared to speak up. Hearing the maid's first-hand account of the cook's injuries, the sister was disheartened and was deeply disappointed, regardless of his brother's rebuttal, and slapped him hard in the face. This slap, it took away his beautiful fantasies about his loving sister, and also woke him up to his stubbornness as the lord of a city. He arbitrarily took back all of Fang Shishi's rights, and immediately ordered to attack Yuchun tomorrow. He doesn't need his sister's strategy. He can still take this rotten city. He never thought that. It would hit him for an outsider. Sister might be tired, so she will take a break for a while. 3 days passed like this. Fang Shizen, who just finished changing the medicine, before he could catch his breath, Fang 13 saw his younger brother like a wronged wife, pounced into his arms and cried bitterly. He destroyed the 5 cities that his sister had won for him. Fang Yuan, the son of the same lord, took them away, robbed him of his 5 cities. The same is the great father of the Lord Xiao Chen. He couldn't bear this grievance, asking his sister to find a way to take back the 5 cities. Fang Shizen knew that his younger brother wasn't a good general. Not only did not blame him, but instead petted him affectionately. He told his brother, soon, he would help him take back the 5 lost cities, telling him not to worry. He still needs time to consider the tactics. Since he promised his younger brother, Fang Shishi works hard every day, thinking hard about how to defeat the enemy. while Fang Litai is, as usual, as the carefree mayor. Sister really did her best and devoted herself and came up with a brilliant strategy to turn the tide. And the cook still takes meticulous care of Fang Shishi. The two get along like an old couple. Brother Fang Lita is like a supervisor who comes to inspect regularly, was sneered at by the cook he didn't like, and then coquettishly begged his sister to help him, asking her sister to quickly help him get the orange juice, and asked her to help him get the orange juice back. Can no longer withstand desk work. After asking about her sister's work progress, she used being sleepy as an excuse and left immediately. She had no pattern of the city lord of Yuxiang Yumeng. Seeing her younger brother leave, she held back for a long time. No, her sister coughed a few times. Her whole person visibly became listless. Even so, Fang Shishi still endured the pain to complete the method. After handling all the details perfectly, he fell asleep peacefully. However, he never figured out why US City could always crack his strategies. Was there a mole lurking in Tianqing City? Seeing Fang Shizhen fall asleep deeply, Guofu quietly walked to the table. The formation on the table. There were hidden lines among the visible lines. With such a military strategy, he is indeed a genius, but he will turn into a ghost and lead him to the abyss of hell. Time goes back to a few months ago. He was the beggar, the poor and desperate lord of Yuxi City. The enemy they faced is the siblings of Tiangxin City, who owned 10 cities. Although Light has had 2 generals, a swordsman and a magician. But the tenfold gap in troops can be made up by top combat power. In this desperate situation, even the best generals, they can only abandon the city first and seek refuge elsewhere. However, the strategist He Yu recruited by Lei Degang pointed out the enemy's weakness in one sentence. Fang Lita, the lord of Tiangxin City, is a self-righteous playboy. He has no tolerance as a local lord, but his sister Fang Shizhen is a talented person, expert in the art of military formation. Even if there are no top generals in the army, but can rely on the formation to conquer cities and lands. The entire territory's military and political power is supported by her powerless sister alone. Will definitely make other counselors in the city. They would gossip about her sister in front of her brother. Over time, even the closest siblings will have doubts. At this time, if someone intervenes between them and completely tear apart the gap between them, the entire Tianqing City will be unstable, and Yaxi City will have a chance to survive. So, who should be the one to play the green tea bitch? After listening to Hiyu, Lida couldn't help sweating. It was implied that he, a master of flirting with girls, to seduce Fang Shishi. But there's no way. For the future of Yaxi City, he could only betray his conscience to separate them. First, he saved Fang Shishi's maid who often collected herbs in the wild. Then, as a married woman, to let her relax her guard, allowing him to enter the mansion to serve Fang Shishi safely. Every day, there is a handsome, a considerate and meticulous man to take care of Fang Shishi. She doesn't expect Fang Shishi to be moved, but to gain his favor. With Light's emotional intelligence and skills, after several months of getting along, Fang Shishi has already let down most of his guard. She is just a woman with a lame leg and blind eyes, and focused on her career, the man who has been silently good to her. He listened to everything he said and did. She doesn't know what a perfect man looks like, but compared to most people with ulterior motives, this man truly cared about her. However, Li Dai took advantage of this affection. Time and time again, while Fang Shishi was resting, he stole the other's battle formation. He united Fang Yuan, the enemy of Tiangxin City's Lita, and the troops of Tiangxin City repeatedly suffered setbacks. This helped Yu Zikang breathe a sigh of relief. It was dragged from early summer to autumn and winter. Now the cat is out of the bag. He was caught by the city lord's younger brother. He was caught having an affair with his sister Fang Shishi. And then, when Fang Yita imprisoned him, he hurt himself, which deepened the rift between them. The rift between them deepened. Then the younger brother deprived his sister of power and took command himself. As planned, he united the Yaxi City army of the Fangyuan City's lord, luring the enemy in, and won. He defeated his brother's army without strategic thinking. After 3 days of command, the younger brother who lost 5 cities, he ran back crying, begging his sister to come out of the mountain. The doting brother would naturally not argue with him, and promised to help his brother take back 5 cities. He worked hard for days. Finally, you came up with an amazing turnaround formation. Everything that happened in Tianqing City was all under the control of Li Di. It will lead Tianqing City to the fate of this incompetent mayor. The fate that should have been faced. On the battlefield, this reversal formation was repeatedly broken through by the coalition of Yaxi City and Fang Yuan. The narrator in front of the formation repeatedly belittled Fang Lita's incompetence. Finally, Fang Lita, who had nowhere to vent his anger, found his sister. He angrily accused his sister of becoming so incompetent. But under the control of Lady, the defeat of Tiangxin City was doomed. Fang Litai tightly strangled his sister's neck. He understood. The cook was from Yaxi City. It wasn't that his sister was incompetent and unwilling to take Yaxi City, but his sister Fang Shizhen didn't want to help him. But she was still his sister after all. He released his sister's neck and let the guards throw Fang Shishi out of the mansion. Demoted to commoner. But Fang Shishi, who had given everything, but had no words to express his grievances. He heard the sound of raindrops falling on the umbrella, asking who was holding an umbrella for him. The kind voice said words that made his bones chill. Such a good girl. Why did you just throw her away? Fang Shizhen recognized it. He never dreamed that the dignified mayor of Yosi City would be that tiger man. He fought hard against the Princess of Light. He understood everything. He understood the defeat on the battlefield. The relationship between siblings was all his tracks. But the extremely weak him could only fall asleep deeply in the tide of exhaustion. Light was speechless. He truly cared for, took care of the sister who was not loved by her brother, and also from the bottom of his heart, and admired the wise and courageous military advisor. But war doesn't talk about justice, only about winning or losing. But Li Dai turned into a devil. He would lead Yaxi City to victory. When Fang Shishi woke up, Tiangxin City had already died. Li Di expressed his straightforward intention, wanted to recruit Fang Shishi as his military advisor. But would Fang Shishi be such a spineless girl? He would rather die to prove his loyalty. But when Light mentioned his useless younger brother, his attitude immediately changed. Until now, only his younger brother is his life sustenance. However, his brother's actions made him feel very cold. He is willing to be Light's military advisor, but only if Light doesn't touch his younger brother and give his brother 3 cities. From now on, they would be free from each other. Light snorted at 3 cities just captured. You just give them back. Do you think you are worth this price? But he let go of his younger brother's clothes, with the huge benefits of 3 cities, but chose to only have 1 person, a condition that even a fool would not accept. Li Di accepted it. Li Di, who has a good eye for talent, he knew the terrifying military strategy talent of Fang Shishi. He was willing to give up 3 cities, just to gain his loyalty, and only in his hands can Fang Shishi. Can he fully display his talents? The decision to give up 3 cities. I don't know if Yu would beat herself up. The lowly assassin confirmed the man's face. And then she took out a dagger to cut off Lide's kidney. Earlier, he released a notice of assassination, saying that he would come to kill Lide tonight. However, Leide's skills were superior to hers. He kicked away the lowly's weapon with 2 kicks. The dodging lowly stepped on the quilt and slipped, and her body involuntarily fell towards Lide. The female swordsman felt a chill in her upper body. She immediately woke up. But when she woke up, she found that Lide's quilt was a circle larger. There was nothing unusual. Out of pity for the assassin lowly, he tightly covered Lolita in the quilt. Without exposing her, she changed the subject and said that so many people were guarding him, the assassin might not dare to come to him. Then he urged the female swordsman to rest quickly. Growing up, Loli, who had never been hugged before, was angry. She opened her mouth and bit Lide fiercely. Lide was not in any danger of his life. But the high-level officials of Yuxi City who woke up played werewolf. Bai Huang questioned everyone one by one, who left the kiss mark on Lide's hand. Hearing the quarrel of the girls in the room, Lide silently chose to leave. He would never tell anyone about the fight with the assassins. He would never say it. While he was patrolling along the river, he found several villagers whispering under the bridge, whispering something. Why is such a good loli sleeping under the bridge? In such a cold day, could she have passed away? The villagers shook the girl, but she didn't wake up. He turned around. The Lord of Sikang happened to walk by. They told him about finding the girl and explained everything in detail. And the loli fell into Lide's hands. He naturally wanted to get some information. Lide held the freshly baked meat buns and tempted the hungry loli. But even though the loli was drooling with hunger, she still refused to reveal her identity. Forget it, let's not talk about it. Lide was afraid that the girl would be hungry. He still stuffed the meat buns into Loli's mouth one by one, until she was satisfied. Are you satisfied? And Loli is not someone who accepts favors for nothing. She only said her name was Chi Lu. Then he left a message for the assassination again. From today on, he will assassinate the city lord Li according to the plan. Li Dai was also happy when he saw the note. He had never seen before that. Assassin who reminds people of safety first. The first time he met Shi Luo, when he told him he was going to attack the granary. Li Di was skeptical. He increased the number of guards at the granary. But Zeluo invaded the granary and directly started a massacre. If Li Dai hadn't been more skilled, Zeluo would have destroyed Yukaxi City alone. It was also because of this battle. Li Dai took a fancy to this young man. A master-level assassin with level 7 strength. He must bring this talent under his command. He asked why he had to warn before burning the granary. Why he announced it in advance. Silawa thought about the experience of starving to faint. If the granary was burned, many people would starve to death this winter. He hated the feeling of hunger. But principles are principles. But the mission is the mission. If he had informed the city lord in advance that the granary would be burned, if Lide couldn't hold it, it would be Lide's own problem. After listening to Ziluo's explanation, he sighed that Ziluo was really an interesting girl. She also understands. She indeed has the strength and capital to do so. But unfortunately, the target was Tarid. Then Ziluo began to follow the prophecy, to assassinate Lide in all directions. Even when Lide was taking a shower, she didn't let him go. After being tossed for a while, he felt sore all over when he got up early, and backache, thinking he would be assassinated soon. so he quickly bought a pancake to satisfy his hunger. He had already discovered the pancake assassins, A and B, behind him, holding the hot pancakes in both hands, actually waiting for the moment when Ziluo makes a move. One hand disarmed Ziluo and stuffed a sufficient portion of pancakes into Ziluo's mouth. After being assassinated for so many days, finally, he can make Ziluo suffer. Light laughed heartily. But then Ziluo showed a look of enjoyment. What's going on? What strange fetish has this pancake assassin awakened? If the assassination fails and he is killed by someone, his assassin career would be over. However, it didn't happen. Today, Ziluo is going to assassinate the mayor Lidet. He lurked in the market early, waiting for the moment when Lidet buys the pancakes and stab him unexpectedly. But Lidet turned around, took out the pancake he just bought, and stuffed it into Ziluo's mouth. Lidet laughed heartily. He finally vented his resentment, the resentment of being hunted down all day long. But just after stuffing himself with a large amount of pancakes, he was stunned. Why did this little girl show a look of enjoyment? Could she have awakened some strange fetish? Ziluo slapped him, shaking off Lidet's control, leaving no room for him to think deeply. She picked up Lidet's pancakes and ran away, while Lidet could only watch with a black face. The pancakes he just bought were taken away. You're so despicable. This girl is really agile. She climbed up the eaves in a few strokes and disappeared. She is worthy of the assassin he likes. Lidet, who originally felt sorry for the pancakes, sighed. Wait. Lidet pondered the girl's mocking expression. Could this girl be a foodie? To verify this conjecture, Lidet had an idea. He went to the river. He caught several delicious big fish alone. Then he personally handled the fish. Then he sprinkled the secret seasoning on the fish. The smell of the grilled fish alone makes people salivate. It's just right to catch the wild foodie loli. Even after lurking in the river for a long time in winter, Ziluo's skills are still swift and accurate. He slashed at Lidet's neck. But unfortunately, the sneak attack couldn't make up for the huge gap in strength. He was held by Lidet's hand and scolded him. Why are you still hiding in the river in such cold weather? Are you a winter swimmer? Lidet led this little girl who could easily slaughter a city. And the harmless little girl sat down by the fire. He took off his shawl and helped Shiloh wipe her wet body. Then he gave the grilled fish and fed it to the blushing and shy girl. This operation to increase the assassin's favorability. It's so amazing that it makes people's scalp tingle. But every time Ziluo thinks of her mission, she still refuses Lidet's hobby. She opened her shawl and quickly dived into the water to escape. This time, Lidet couldn't let this girl go swimming in winter. He quickly fished her out of the water to dry and prepares to bake something that earthlings like to taste for Ziluo. However, Ziluo still refuses to give up. She assassinated Lidet from behind. Of course, he must seize such a good opportunity. Unfortunately, Lidet seems to have eyes on his back and easily avoided it. But Ziluo awkwardly swung on the swing. Lidet broke the fragrant sweet potato with force. This authentic delicacy is only available in his world. The faceless loli sniffed it without expression, but her mouth involuntarily opened. The roasted sweet potato melts in the mouth. The instantly melted sweet potato broke his expression. It seems that people live just to come to the river to eat some sweet potatoes. Before they knew it, they stayed together until evening. Shiluo felt a contradictory emotion was pent up in his chest. He didn't understand. Lidet could easily subdue him. Why did he let him go repeatedly? And even kept feeding him various delicacies. He was taught to be ruthless and ungrateful, only to complete the mission. But never like now. He couldn't bear to give up his mission target. Die. But he has no other choice. He and the mission target can only live one. As one of the young masters trained by the shadow, his life is either to climb to the top of power or die on the way to the top. Such a life, what kind of redemption can there be? Lied stopped Ziluo, who was about to leave. He knew that after this period of getting along, it's finally time to bear fruit. Would you like to come to Yaxi City? I don't know what kind of forces are behind you. Can train you, a young man, to train you into a 7-level assassin. You must have a great background. But as long as you are willing to come to Yaxi City, no matter how powerful your forces are behind you, I will personally pick you up. Lied's words of freedom quietly planted a hope in Ziluo's heart. But Ziluo knew that, with his current status, he's not worthy of enjoying these things. Wait another year. Next year. I will definitely think of, with his ability, as long as he can climb to the position of the shopkeeper, maybe the Shadow Lord will relax his control over him. However, the untimely matrix in his heart made Ziluo tremble. The sudden change, making Lied quickly want to step forward to support. And a woman has somehow blocked their way. Young master, such a childish game. How long are you going to play this game? He looks like a child, but with extraordinary strength. Shiluo is young. He has reached the level of ordinary assassins, which is hard to achieve in a lifetime. The 7th level of assassin. But the messenger never dreamed that. Even their best young man was almost turned by Lied. What kind of ecstasy did this man give him? Fuck you. He has been the messenger for 15 years. He has never seen who dares to turn against their shadow guards. You know, just hearing the name of Lingwu shadow guards would be eager to die. Otherwise, when the shadow guards come, living might be a greater torture. But this Yaxi City Lord Lied doesn't seem to be afraid. It seems that he is indeed a greenhorn who has never seen the world. Shiluo saw the messenger came in person. He knew that this mission might not end well. So he had to leave Lied silently and move towards the messenger. The messenger sternly scolded the mere 7th level realm, a silly girl who thinks she has grown wings, and threatened that if she didn't go with him, next time the 10 halls of hell will come to take her. These 2 sentences undoubtedly made Shiluo feel like the sky was falling. He quickly left Lied and followed the messenger away. You see City, Lord Lidi, if you're still trying to survive and play tricks, thinking that he would use the whole city to bury him. This was the ultimatum issued by the messenger before leaving. With just Ziluo alone, he can destroy all his high-end combat power. Lied clears the hidden positions. It's easy to destroy Yaxi City, but it's not time to give up. Lied hurried back to the city to discuss countermeasures with the talented Heiyu. At this time, Lied finally understood how huge the Lingwu domain is. The Lingwu people surround the Lingwu Lord and established a huge power in the northeast. The Lingwu leader has 3 guards, which are the Sun Guard, the Moon Guard, and the Shadow Guard. It's just one of the guards under the Lord of Lingwu. They are responsible for intelligence and assassination. The leader of the Shadow Guard is called the Grand Commander, and the Grand Commander has 10 Yanluo under him. Qi Luo is one of the 10 Yanluo, are the direct disciples of several of them. The direct disciples are generally called young masters, but there are more than 40 young masters like Ziluo. There are more than 40 in the Shadow Guard. Hearing Hiyu's advice not to provoke Lingwu for nothing, he sweated profusely. I feel it's better not to tell Heiyu for now. I dug my own grave. It's better to dig the corner of Lingwu. You are so despicable. But just a moment of chatting. The bad news had already reached the city lord's mansion. Light's bodyguard, the swordsman girl Aya, was kidnapped by someone. Light followed the note's instructions to meet at the appointed place alone. Here, a small figure had been waiting for Light for a long time. To end the battle quickly, the assassin gave Arya a slow-acting poison. Either Light and Alea will die, or kill Ziluo and get the antidote from him. Light took a step back to avoid Ziluo's ferocious pounce. He wanted to ask Ziluo why he suddenly became cold and ruthless. But Ziluo coldly said it wasn't that complicated. It was because Light's name was on his assassination list. But Light had already guessed what was going on. It was the order of the 10 halls of hell. It was to let Ziluo cut off this fate with his own hands, to become the cold-blooded executioner. But Ziluo's calm, middle-aged face actually showed sadness.